with the recent release of Captain Marvel, the hype is starting to get really real for Avengers Endgame. And myself and everyone at Film Artsy included are super excited about this new movie that's coming out in just about 6 weeks. And with this time and this information that's coming out with all the new marketing material that Avengers Endgame has been putting out so far, there's actually a lot of new information that has been leaked over the past couple of days and weeks. And some of this stuff is really huge to what's going on in the story, and also gives us a lot of room for speculation as to what could be coming in Avengers Endgame. So if you're a long-term fan of Avengers or Marvel and you're trying to avoid spoilers, this is your spoiler warning. This stuff may include things that are actually in the movie, although most of these spoilers aren't late movie information. They're mostly information that we're drawing from the early parts of the movie that have been leaked so far. But just so you know, there is a spoiler warning here, so if you're nervous about that, you might want to choose to watch a video another time, or check out our Instagram, link in the description, for all things Avengers and Marvel. Otherwise, you guys have been warned. We have some awesome stuff that could be happening in this movie that we want to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
So one of the first major leaks that we're going to be looking at today actually seems pretty minor at first. This is coming from some marketing material for Avengers Endgame that is going to be partnered with Coca-Cola. And from the first actual release of the concept art for these cans, it looks pretty straightforward. It has the base set of the Avengers, specifically everyone who was in the first Avengers movie, plus Captain Marvel, and minus Nick Fury. But if we look a little bit closer, we actually can see a lot of things that we didn't really notice at first that actually tell us possibly quite a bit about where this plot is going in Avengers Endgame. Let's take a closer look specifically at Hawkeye. We notice that this can actually takes on his newer appearance with his hair pushed up. I know that's kind of a weird description, but in general, Hawkeye has longer hair kind of in the front in Endgame. So essentially what I'm saying is these aren't just cans of Coca-Cola showing what the Avengers looked like in the 2012 movie. This is updated to their more current appearance, especially because of the inclusion of Captain Marvel. We can make that conclusion. But if we use that information and take a look at Black Widow, we notice that she's back to rocking her red hair from the original Avengers. Now, from what we've seen in the trailer so far, it looks like Black Widow actually has her blonde hair that she had in Avengers Infinity War, which might also be another confirmation on the overall time travel theory that's been floating around pretty much since the end of Infinity War. There's a very high likelihood that we're going to be seeing some sort of time travel that relates back to whatever is going to happen in New York in 2012, and maybe that will bring the story full circle in some way relating back to the very first Avengers movie, especially with the fact that most of the original Avengers survived the snap. Following that, with these Coke cans, we also noticed that Iron Man's suit is a little bit of a sleeker design, and we also took note that the Incredible Hulk looks like he has some sort of clothing or armor on. We're not too sure exactly, but more on that later. There also was a leak that showcased a couple more cans, including Rocket Raccoon and Ant-Man, and of course, we also see some promotional cans for Thanos, which is actually the first pre-marketing thing we've really seen that shows Thanos in a way. So that's actually really cool. Nothing really to notice here, but it's an interesting inclusion here. Then we also have rumors and possibly a brand new leak from a Disney shareholders meeting, which is something they do every once in a while to kind of confirm that their investments in these movies are going to be worth it, and kind of a reward for the people who invest a ton of money in the filmmaking process, especially Disney as a whole. So apparently they showed a scene to the shareholders, and that recently got leaked on Twitter. There's never 100% confirmation on any of these things, but from the sounds of this leak, it sounds extremely early on in the movie, and there's nothing extremely juicy that we're gonna see in this spoiler, but it's still interesting enough as a spoiler because it does kind of point us in the direction as to what and where Endgame is going to go. So let's go ahead and go through these tweets from Scott Ladewig. Spoiler warning, Avengers Endgame. Nebula had a few lines that I didn't mention from the Avengers scene we saw at the shareholders meeting. I'm using quotation marks, but the words may not be exact. Steve, Natasha, etc. are all at headquarters trying to figure out how to find Thanos. We hear Nebula say, "I know where he is," and the scene shifts and she steps out of the shadow and comes forward. She says, while he was perfecting me, he'd talk about where he, or maybe we, would go when it was all finished. Nebula goes on to say, even disassembled, I wanted to please him, so I would ask, "Father, where will we go?" And his answer was always the same. She then mentions a name or a word, but I didn't catch what exactly it was. Someone next to her, Rhodey I think, says, "Nice, Thanos has a retirement plan." And then that's where it picks up with the rest of the scenes as I described previously. Now, if you haven't been following this whole spoiler exchange, back on March 7th, Scott also tweeted out a couple of small minor spoilers that took place possibly right before this interaction. It's a little bit of older news, but we'll still go over it again just in case you haven't seen it yet. The Avengers Endgame scene they showed was at Avengers headquarters. Captain Marvel saying, "Let's go kill Thanos." Nebula says she knows where he is. Rocket says biggest enemy surge ever seen on Earth when he used the glove, but it was seen again on another planet shortly after. So that's where Thanos is retiring to. Quick exchange between Captain America, Natasha, Bruce, Rhodey, and Captain Marvel. Bruce asks what guarantee they have that this ends differently. Captain Marvel says that they have her this time. Rhodey asks where she was because they could have used her before, and Captain Marvel says a lot of other planets out there need help and they don't have Avengers like Earth has. Thor gets up from sitting quietly in back, walks up to Captain Marvel and summons his axe, which whizzes right past Captain Marvel. She doesn't flinch, into his hand and says, "I like this one." Cut to Milano, everybody buckled in, Captain Marvel in co-pilot seat. Rocket asks who hasn't been to space. Captain America, Rhodey, Natasha raise hands, and Rocket warns them not to puke in his ship, and they go off. Cool reflection of stars and space stuff on Captain America's eyes as we zoom in on him and they warp out of there. That's all I can remember. So there is some really interesting kind of plot points. For the most part, this seems really early on in the film, but it does add some speculation as to what's going on with Nebula and how she's already at Avengers headquarters. This might lead us to believe that Avengers Endgame is going to kind of kick off with Tony Stark in his ship like we saw in the trailer, and that actually might be one of the main first arcs of the story before we get to everyone else being regrouped together, including Nebula being at headquarters. But it does seem pretty clear that Tony Stark will somehow make it back to Earth, which I'm okay with, and it's not really that big of a surprise. That was pretty much expected. Now, we had a couple other minor spoilers that we also had leaked just in the past couple of days to weeks. One of them is a movie poster / magazine cover. This obviously isn't supposed to be out just yet. However, it just shows the cast of characters, kind of emphasizing who's going to be the main set of characters. All the characters we pretty much expected. We see Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Nebula, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, Rocket, Black Widow with darker hair, but we still can't really get that confirmation if it's the red hair or the blonde hair like we're thinking, because the lighting is a little bit weird. And then we see the Hulk, who looks like he might have some sort of armor on, which could be similar to what we saw in that Coca-Cola can. And then way in the corner, almost like they forgot about him, we see War Machine kind of tucked away back there, which is kind of funny. And then finally, about a week ago, we had some Lego toys leaked, and I wanted to put this one at the very end of the video, just because, as we know from Infinity War, Lego released a ton of toys that people used as speculation as to what was going to happen in the movie, and a ton of it wasn't actually even a thing. So with this, we kind of have to use really loose speculative ideas. Because last year there were just major inaccuracies as to what actually happened in the movie. It had the Incredible Hulk breaking out of the suit and stuff, and the Incredible Hulk wasn't even in the movie. So look at this with a grain of sand, but it looks like there is going to be possibly, or at least in this Lego piece, a armor room set piece that has different armors, that includes pieces of all of the Avengers. And it also has another set piece of the Avengers compound that actually shows Thanos in it. And that's kind of a cool idea. And we'll really have to just see if there's any actual legitimacy to any of this Avengers Lego set. And that's what we kind of know so far about what's going on in Avengers Endgame based off of some of these leaks that we've had. What do you think of these leaks? Do you think that they are legitimate? Let us know in the comment section down below. Do you think the new Avengers movie is going to have some sort of element of time travel to it? That could be a really unique storytelling device, and I'm kind of curious to see where this goes. If you like all things though, Avengers and Marvel and just movies in general though, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on so you get notified every time we upload a brand new video. We'll see you all later with another video.
If I could hush the emptiness in all of this, I would grab the moment to break from this and break from this and break all that we are eternally denied.
Hey guys, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys hit the like button down below and subscribe for more Film Artsy. If you guys want to showcase your talent to the world, Film Artsy is the best place for you guys to do it. Please submit your videos to filmartsyofficial@gmail.com, or you guys can click the link in the description. We really want to see what kind of talent you guys can provide. So let us know, send us an email, and we'll check out your videos, and we'll see you all in the next video.
Talking?
I'm about to.
Hi, everybody.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hi.
See you guys.
Know anybody?